right, Brittany, we'll stay tuned. Thank you so much. With that, we turn to our special live coverage from Western North Carolina, marking 1 year since Helene devastated so many communities across this region. And understandably, a lot of the discussion over the last several months has been about the physical rebuilding, the buildings, the businesses, the homes, the infrastructure, everything that's been rebuilt over the past year. But in speaking with the community one-on-one, it is clear that the mental and emotional scars of Helene remain to this day, and we might not always recognize that. So tonight I found out about this often overlooked impact from the storm. When Helene struck, Jeannie Berry's Ashe County home was largely spared in the moment. But the mental and emotional impacts were just as strong as if it weren't.
I had that lingering guilt. I didn't lose an entire house. I didn't, lose a vehicle. I didn't lose everything I owned.
Berry called it survivor's guilt and says while she struggled with that, her work through the health department brought her face to face with an underserved community struggling in the wake of Helene.
The substance misuse individuals that I work with, several of them that were on a medication-assisted treatment through our health department, they could not get out to get their prescribed medication. And some of those medications caused withdrawals. And so some of them returned to street drugs and active use once they could get out. And that was devastating for them.
At the Cardinal Restaurant in Boone,
folks' fuses were a little shorter. Folks seemed more tired at work.
Co-owner Seth Sullivan says the quiet signs and somewhat unexpected scars of Helene were there amongst his crew and himself.
Those high wind days, I was just like so conscious of the wind that in a way I'd never had been before.
A body of research shows natural disasters can leave lasting mental health impacts to those who survive them, like grief, anxiety, depression, and PTSD. But because they're not as visible as a leveled house, folks can overlook the signs.
I've heard folks have reactions to sounds like a water bottle being crumpled up. Something like that can sound like a tree snapping. So I think, are starting to build awareness of what are those trigger situations and just being aware of them.
Lindsay Sullivan with App Healthcare works with an initiative called Stable Workplaces. It's an effort to make the community healthier and happier by offering resources through local employers. Recognizing the widespread mental health impacts in the high country since Helene, their work has shifted.
In the early days after the storm, the team at Stable Workplaces looked at something called the emotional life cycle of a disaster. It's an infographic that shows the typical waves of experience a community can face after a storm. So that helped to guide us in those early days of what needs can we anticipate within a community. What waves should we be ready to ride, essentially?
A healing process Seth hopes high country visitors remember is very much still in progress.
Folks should, have grace with the folks they're interacting with on a daily basis. You don't know if the person who's waiting on you at the coffee shop experienced homelessness, in the last year of their life.
Meantime, in a sad twist, the reason for Berry's survivor's guilt came to an end in May.
We had a heavy rain, and it brought post debris from the hurricane down, stopped up the ditch and the culvert, and completely flooded our entire house. We lost about 80% of our furniture, our pictures, our lifetime of stuff.
Yet another way Helene's grip has lingered. But Berry is rethinking the narrative about the flooded river that caused so much destruction.
It also is very personal. It's where my son was baptized. It's where I went to survive the death of a child. It's where I made peace with the fact that I needed to do something about my own addictions. It's where I remarried my husband for the second time when he was battling cancer. It's where the ashes flow of my biological mom and my adoptive mom. It did a terrible thing by flooding, but it's done a lot of good things too.
So I just wanted to thank Jeannie Berry and the Sullivans for sharing their stories and perspectives, because I think it really just drives home the fact that if folks are feeling some things, even now, a year after Helene, that's normal. This is something that we've seen a body of research showing that after natural disasters, there's so many different ways that it can still linger with you emotionally and mentally. So on that note, we just